Welcome. I invite you to subscribe, like, and share this story. We really appreciate your support. Enjoy the journey. I hired a private investigator. Over the past month, my wife has changed a lot and our quarrels have become louder and weirder. Moreover, she herself did not seem to notice her transformation. I had my own business for 2 years then. It required development and my attention. Therefore, without bothering much, I hired a private detective. My detective wasn't cheap, but he worked extremely professionally. He managed to wire her car, and even her office at her office job. Female adultery and marriage consequences. 2 days later, I was listening to a conversation between her and a guy. The guy is her colleague. It became obvious from the conversation that they had already had sex several times near work and even at the workplace. And now her lover really wanted to have sex in bed. They decided to do it at the hotel. On Friday evening, she told me that she was going out with the girls on Saturday. I already found out that the guy is also married, quickly contacted his wife. We met, I told her what I know. I tell her if she wants proof, she has to come with me on Saturday night. So we followed my wife, parked in a rented car near the bar. I didn't have to wait long. My wife comes out, followed by her lover. He was already waiting for her at the bar when we arrived. His wife is already crying. I tell her to be angry, not cry. Then I notice them heading towards her car, the one I bought her. He gets behind the wheel. They arrived at an inexpensive hotel near the airport. I suggested to the traveling companion to wait a little so that they could undress. Then our trap would work. 5 minutes later, I knock on the door and shout, "Open up, security!" The lover comes to the door, opens it, holding only a towel over his belongings. I say, "Hi, I'm Amanda's husband," and you get it and hit him in the face. He falls. Then I take my wife's clothes and I pull him out of the room. Actually take him outside and throw him into a snowdrift. January. His wife becomes hysterical, hits and kicks him. I go back to the room. My wife is sitting on the bed. She shakes, saying, "You shouldn't have known." I got even angrier from these words too. Dragged her out of the room and dragged her naked to the parking lot. I write her down. She trembles and confesses everything she has done. I tell her that no one will ever forgive her. Caught his wife cheating in a hotel. Do you like strawberries? Love and chill. My husband found out about the betrayal and filed for divorce. I don't want it. I quickly dial her dad's mobile number. She shouts, "No, no, no!" After an explanation with her father simply says that she disgusts him and hangs up. She makes screams and moans. I tell her to get dressed. I give her the clothes. She's shaking and shaking. I called a taxi, put her in the car, and sent her to her sister. He himself got behind her car, and her lover and his wife left in a rented car. Then on Monday, I call her boss. After I told him about the actions of 2 of his employees, I told him that their continued presence in his company would force me to file a lawsuit against him. I have good connections in the bar and court. Nonsense, of course, but it worked. He fires them both. Then I packed my wife's things and took them to her sister. It took her 2 more days before the shock passed. She calls me, and I refuse to talk to her. This goes on for several weeks. Then her sister calls, says she started threatening suicide, stopped eating. I advised her sister to call her an ambulance. As a result, the wife was under observation in a psychiatric hospital. I got a call from the hospital, made an appointment. Reluctantly, I go. I was told that she was fully aware of what she had done, and what I did shocked her to the point of catatonia. Her psychiatrist said she was having a serious nervous breakdown because of what she had experienced, including the crushing humiliation I caused when I forced her to confess while standing naked in a public parking lot. The psychiatrist said it was extreme and partially led to the splitting of her personality, but everything should normalize. I replied that she treated me like trash before I caught her, and her personality was not as good as she presented herself. When I left, they told me they would call me back next week. Our meeting took place the following week. She looked dejected and like a shadow of the old woman. Previously, my wife was a figure skater with appetizing forms, but in a few weeks she lost at least 25 kg. She said she tried to keep me from finding out about the affair, but she cheated because I worked too hard. I called it nonsense. I remembered her own words from the time when she complained about the lack of money, and I went into business to earn us a living. I told her she keeps lying. I can't be with you. I want a divorce. Her doctor almost threw me out of the room. I was yelling at him, and he was yelling at me, and all of a sudden she says, okay, yes, I was a selfish high school girl. I wanted to feel the romance, experience the thrill, and find out what cheating is like. Finally, I've told a little truth. Her therapist is out. I asked her to think about what it was all for. Now, the novel is long in the past. Your parents are offended by you. Your job is lost. It will take serious efforts and a lot of time to fix this. She asked me not to leave her. She said she didn't know what she would do without me, but I didn't say anything. I was still in contact with her lover's wife. They still lived under the same roof. I asked her for a meeting, offered to drink wine together. Someone else's wife is always sweet as forbidden fruit. Someone else's wife, or better, the wife of my wife's lover. She said she was a married woman. I said that technically, I'm also a married man, and the same circumstances did not prevent our spouses from having fun. Why should something prevent us from doing the same after that? So we met. After a banal conversation, I leaned over and jokingly said that it would probably be good for them if we also became lovers. I expected a polite rebuff. To my surprise, she smiled and said, "Just don't take me to that lousy hotel." We booked a very nice room and spent the next 3 days getting to know each other. After that, her husband was informed about it. He almost had an apoplexy. She laughed at him and said that my penis is much bigger than his, and I forced her to have an orgasm many times. This little bastard had the nerve to call my wife's sister and demand that I leave his wife alone. My sister told my wife about it, and she told me that she deserved it. Eventually, the anger subsided. I've had my revenge enough. I've been dating other women for about a year, but I haven't done anything about the divorce. My wife and I met for coffee to discuss how to put an end to everything. However, something strange happened to me, and we started dating again. A year later, after a hell of a long therapy, we began to live as husband and wife again. Opinion of the author of the channel. As a psychologist, I am deeply concerned about your wife's mental health and general well-being. However, since you are together, one would assume that everything is fine. Nevertheless, there is a disturbing question here. Which parents would reject their own daughter and side with their husband in a personal conflict? It seems that your wife has never had a proper family support system, which in no way justifies her infidelity. Believe me, I am well aware of how destructive deception can be. Kicking your wife out of the room naked in January is not only cruel, but given that this is a public place, it is completely inhumane. This could cause her serious psychological trauma. I hope that she will be able to cope with this and will never knowingly take revenge for this act. Neither women nor men forget public humiliation so easily. I implore you to seek advice on this matter. Seriously, this situation can ruin your marriage again, and the consequences can be unpredictable. Judging by the reaction of your wife's parents, she may genuinely feel unloved and lonely in life. Perhaps this was her inner feeling from the very beginning, and that is why counseling could also be useful in solving this aspect. What do you think, friends? Leave your comment on this. The end. Thank you for joining me on this exciting journey of love, betrayal, and redemption. I appreciate your support and encourage you to subscribe, like, and share this story. Your participation and feedback are invaluable for sharing our content and promoting mutual understanding and community growth. Until we meet again.